right, I'm going to create like 200 purchase order folders in 30 seconds. So we're going to go over here to Claude, which is an AI tool that I use very frequently in production. And we're going to go up to the code window, and it is currently connected to our sample project folder. So it's actually operating within this folder. And I'm going to give it this prompt here, telling it to generate 200 purchase order subfolders in the purchase order folder. And I give it some job parameters that it should follow. So we're going to press enter, trust this workspace. It's going to calculate. And then it just wants to confirm that it'll execute. And I'll say, yes, confirmed. Keep a look on this side. It's asking for permission one more time to fully execute. We'll say yes. It's going to do all that. And pretty much immediately, all of the folders are generated over here. Okay, so this is a small annoying thing, but manually creating purchase order folders is just one of the things that annoys me the most because I got to type out everything. There's the first folder. I'll create another folder, copy, backspace, next number, do this, copy, backspace, number. It's just kind of a tedious thing that I never really enjoyed doing. And I know that throughout the course of a job, I'll probably have, 10, 15, 20, 60 POs. And wouldn't it be great to just generate them ahead of time and even just the numbers and fill in the names as I go along? So I was already using Claude pretty heavily in my production workflow, and I was using it to generate terminal commands. And what terminal is basically it talks directly to your computer to generate folders. So basically I would create it in Claude. I would tell it what I needed in plain language. It would spit out a terminal command. I would go over and copy it into terminal, and then it would execute in the folder. So it's a little bit more tedious to do it that way, and it worked great. But with this code tab, it basically removes all of the intermediary steps of the copy pasting and allows Claude itself to interact directly with the terminal to work right in whatever folder I tell it I'm going to work in. So let's walk through this piece by piece. Here is exactly what it looks like. When I decide that I'm starting a job and I want, to get all my purchase order folders set up, what I will do is I will go into Claude, I'll go to code, and then I will make sure that I'm pointing to the job folder. So in this case, I just have it as a sample one on the desktop. We're going to point to the top folder and we're going to open that right there. So now I know that it's going to be operating in this folder specifically. This is the native directory for this conversation. So at the beginning of the job, I want it to be familiar with the directory. So I'm going to tell it, please familiarize yourself with the current working job directory. So let's see. Oh yeah, first time we're running this, we'll allow once. Okay, and we need to allow permissions for it to look at the directory. So right now it is running through all the folders and all the subfolders to get an idea of what this is a folder for. It isn't reading the files necessarily. It is just looking at all the file names and all the context of everything here to get an idea of what this is. So as you can see, it has gone through every file name and can kind of infer what this folder is for. So right now, let's just do the most basic thing that we did prior to this, and that would be to create purchase order folders. So let me actually delete all the folders that are in here right now. Please create 200 purchase order subfolders inside the purchase order folder of the directory. Have the first 3 folders be named petty cash, comma, payroll, comma, and company credit card, period. The remaining folders can just be numbered up to 200. And that'll be enough to start with. It will probably ask some clarifying questions, but right now, let's just let it process and see what it spits back. Okay, so now it's going to give me a dry run. For executing, here's a dry run preview. Since folders already exist, they'll need to be renamed, not replaced. Content preserved to include the suffix. We deleted it, but it actually looks like it hasn't registered. So it actually looks like it's still seeing the original set of folders that I had typed in there, and I may just need to refresh the Finder. Relaunch that real quick. So I had deleted the folders, comma, I just refreshed the Finder, period. Please review the folder one more time and confirm that you can execute the purchase order generation with the 3-digit 0 padding you've mentioned, period. No folders should need to be renamed, period. All right, cool. Problem solved. Folder is empty, ready to create all 200 clean folders. No renames needed. Shall I execute? Yes. It's going to process a little bit more. It'll probably give me one more approval permission. All right, cool. One more approval permission is in. Let's allow it. Let's actually make sure we're selected on purchase order so we can see allow once, yes, and once again, pretty much an immediate generation. And so the beauty of this is that it was really able to take the context of this and do about 90% of the work itself. And then I just pretty much had to explain a few clarifying details in plain English. It looks like one of the pain points for this was the fact that I had made some manual changes to the folder and then instructed it to do something in the folder. So it might have been operating on a past iteration of it. So it could be a case of either telling it to review a folder before I go in and do something, or just refreshing the Finder so it has the most updated iteration of it before doing a large folder restructuring like this. Now that you've seen that, I want to show you the thing that actually makes this repeatable without having to re-explain myself every time. So for the most part, Claude was able to discern exactly what I wanted to do, and that is because I have given it some context. So I'm going to show you what that context is. So we are actually going to go to the home folder of the computer, and there is a hidden folder for Claude that exists in here. If you type Shift-Command period, it will show all of the hidden files. So there's a folder called Claude, and within Claude, there's a file called CLAUDE.md. And so this CLAUDE.md file is short for Markdown, and Markdown is just a type of text file that I will show you guys here. Inside it, you put your standing instructions, your naming conventions, your PO numbering formats, whatever you want, so that every time you open something in Claude Code, it will refer back to this specific file itself and know exactly how you want to operate when it comes to executing certain commands. I just kind of discovered that this file is a thing, so this is only my first iteration of it, and I'll be looking to kind of optimize it going forward. So I built out a templated version of this with a link down in the description so you guys can grab this and either use it the way that I have or kind of use it as a baseline, throw it into your AI agents, and figure out how you can modify it to best suit your needs. And so the main thing for me here is to why this works is like, I'm not a coder. Like I never type out any of these things manually. The whole point was to get kind of a plain language format like this that could then be executed right in the computer. And Claude Code really just makes the loop of how I was working a lot tighter. It's one less step. And so another use case for this is like if I need to batch rename a bunch of petty cash receipts. So let's actually create that now. All right, great. So it's created the Casey Morgan folder with a bunch of randomly named text files. And these are just basically used as placeholders for like receipts that you get. Because typically I may get, pictures of 10, 15, 20 receipts that PAs send me. And there's no real structure to those file names. It's just a bunch of randomly numbered images. And so I want to go in and make sure that these are renamed so that it clearly shows that they are receipts, who the receipts pertain to, and that the receipts are numbered. Please go into the Casey Morgan Petty Cash Envelope subfolder and rename all of the files within Casey Morgan's folder under my receipt naming convention, REC, crew name, number. And so my receipt naming convention is already built into Claude Code, so it should be able to infer what I want it to do based on the fact that I'm calling out the naming convention. So all of these are basically going to turn into what it says right here, REC underscore Casey Morgan underscore 001, which just in the way that I work, REC is the prepend that I use for all final receipts. So I know this is a receipt. Casey Morgan means, okay, this is the person that this receipt is tied to, and then here's the number of the receipt. So I will say confirm. It's going to ask for permission before doing a final execution. We're going to allow once. And there you go. Instant change from a bunch of jumbled, mishmashed, total nonsense file names to a very organized and numerically ordered batch of receipts. But these are things that I do so frequently throughout jobs that it got to the point where I was like, is there a way that I can optimize this? And that's exactly what Claude Code has kind of allowed for here, is that I've got simple optimization, but it adds up really fast when you're doing this constantly across jobs. I hope this is helpful to you. Go ahead and grab the Claude.md template in the link below, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks.